Hi and welcome back to Little Press Flower. So this month I am going to show you how I arrange my flowers in my presses. I'm going to be using these gorgeous cosmos which I've just collected from the garden, and I will show you how I place them into the press.
I've found the layer where I want to press these beautiful cosmos flowers. Now cosmos are a perfect flower for first time presses. Mostly because they're quite flat and they have absolutely beautiful results from them too. So I press them in two different ways, cosmos and flat flowers like it. So there's just the head and the other way with the stem. If you like foliage and leaves, they're great for that as well. So I normally just chop the head off right here at the base of the flower. And I always place them into the press face down, and I will explain why that is in a moment. So one of the key things to remember is you can get your desired effect by just pressing gently on the flower itself before then placing it face down so that you don't get rumpled petals. You can use your fingers or you can use tweezers if there are other little petals like these ones beneath it that you can't see, just to make sure that they're all evened out. If you are pressing something with a stem, it's important to try and manipulate it before it goes into the press. Now the reason I do that is because these petals here at the base near the stem won't get the same pressure as these at the top. So they might shrivel a little bit. And if you put the top onto the press, they're just going to press however you've kind of squashed them down. So it's a good idea to manipulate it a little bit into shape to give it the best chance of getting even pressure across all these petals. It's important as well not to overload the press. So I like to keep quite a bit of space between the flowers themselves. So there's good airflow there, they get even pressure, there's no overlapping where they might then rumple into one another or stick together, and then it becomes quite difficult then to separate them, and you get a much more even pressure and pressing across the flowers. So top tips: manipulate the flower into the shape that you like and that you want to press it into by just squeezing it between your fingers. Think about stems, foliage as well. Obviously, as I said earlier on, use your fingers or some tweezers just to get the desired shape. Keep good airflow between the flowers, nice amount of space between them to give them the best possible chance of pressing. So here's why I press my flowers face down. So this is a cosmos. You can see there's been a few other ones on here too that I pressed around about 2 weeks ago. So when a flower is dry and ready, sometimes they'll kind of come away from the page like this one's doing now, and you can tell then that it's dry. But you can see that the center is still sticking to the page. Now, if the flower was facing face up, it's more likely that when you move it off the page, it's going to tear or it's going to rip. So I place my flowers face down in the press because it just makes it a lot simpler to peel the petals off the page, so you have a beautiful pressed flower. So as I said, if it's face up, it's not as easy to pull it off the page, and you end up with quite a few torn petals. If the flower has stuck face up to the page, then I would recommend that you, as I've just done and shown you, you kind of bend the page slightly in half to tease the petals away from the page, and then use tweezers underneath this central part here to just pull it away from the page, and that way you're less likely then to damage the flower.
I hope you found that useful. Any questions, then just drop me a message. Don't forget to subscribe and follow Little Pressed Flower on Instagram and Facebook.